hard looks different for all of us, but we all deal with hard. Like, make no mistake about that.
Yeah.
But when it comes to your health, when it comes to your fitness levels, when it comes to the things you would like to prioritize, but you kind of kick to the back burner, there is never an ideal time to get those scheduled in and to fix those things. And, this is a super crazy season, but it'll be a little bit less crazy. Even when it's a little less crazy, you're going to come up to just breathe for a minute, and you're not going to schedule those other things in. So it's about, what is the bare minimum of what I need to do to keep these things going and to keep certain things a priority. Welcome back to the Fitness League, helping busy humans build strong bodies, sharper minds, and better lives. Join us each week as we cut through the noise, challenge the norms, and empower you to train smarter and live stronger. Today, we're talking about one of the biggest myths in fitness, the perfect routine. Because the truth is, it doesn't exist. Your training, your nutrition, your sleep, they're all moving targets that shift with your goals, your stress, and your season of life. Some weeks you're chasing aesthetics, others you're focused on performance, and sometimes you're just trying to stay healthy and sane. In this episode, we'll break down how we decide what matters most right now, how to build a routine that evolves with us instead of one that breaks down the moment life gets messy. Because progress is not about perfection, it's about alignment. When your priorities match your plan, that's when everything starts to click. Let's get into it. Welcome back, everybody.
Welcome.
Welcome back.
So I think we cleared this up last time. I think over the course of the last
the
two
listeners.
episodes. We're welcoming the Fitness League, not you two or us three.
I always thought you were talking to us, so that was my bad.
Joelle thought the same thing.
We're included in the Fitness League. We are
the Fitness League, Josh.
We are the Fitness League.
No, remember Joelle said we're just three idiots with a mic.
But we're still in the Fitness League. It's not just them.
Fair.
It's us too.
Also, funny comment. I don't know if you saw this one, Joelle, when you were digging through the comments there on Spotify. When me and Alessandro reached forward to mute ourselves and unmute ourselves in the beginning of the episodes, someone thought it was some weird inside joke where we're like touching fingers.
Like a little boop.
She's like, I don't know if you guys know this. It's my first time actually watching, but it looks like you guys do some like ET shit.
Probably because of we're facing each other.
That's
funny.
So
Well, it depends
funny.
where Riverside puts us in this structure here. But
That
we mute
is
so you don't hear the echo and there's not this crazy delay and like
hilarious.
picking up on each other's
Yeah.
mic. So
You
we're back
guys,
and forth touching fingers apparently.
It has
That
been
is
so
so
hard
funny.
to figure out this podcast tech situation since we merged, because it's like it would be easy if we were all virtual, I feel like. But since Josh and I are in the same room and then
Yeah.
Joelle is virtual, it's like we have to figure out the best way to finagle it. But like Josh and I are literally like 3 feet away from each other. So whenever he talks, my mic picks up his voice sometimes and it just makes for a not great listening sound. So every time Josh talks, I mute myself so you guys don't hear it on my mic. And every time I talk, he mutes himself. So that's why we're always reaching up for the computer. We're not finger
Well, one thing
fiving.
Riverside does well is it does cancel the echo like on the recording. But us listening to it,
it's
like she'll
brutal.
talk and then it's a 3-second delay to hear it again. So it's just like pure torture on our side. So it's really for our sanity.
That is so funny. I can't like unsee that now. Every time you guys go to mute yourself, I'm gonna eat the phone home. You guys are actually just
And to be clear, like we physically cannot touch each other from this far away. We're like 6 or so feet away.
I just said we're like 3 feet away. We are not 6 feet away.
You want me to lay down and show you?
do
If
it.
we were 3 feet away,
Do
my
it.
arm could touch your arm.
Do it.
Do it.
I'm not. They don't want to. They want to
Do
wait
it
while
for
I
the
sit here.
pod.
Well, I think this is a good topic of discussion because even yesterday I kind of just like did a whole, I don't want to call it a revamp, but I kind of, based on current past events, I needed to change some things. And just with like, I was getting to the end of each week and I was basically, what was happening, Josh?
It was a vicious cycle of this giant storm cloud that would just hover over our aura over here. It was just, we were in a cycle where we knew we were going to be grinding for a while. We did not think this was going to be 12 plus months. And for that reason, we didn't make our routine as efficient as it could have been, or I don't know how
We
to.
just didn't really plan for the long, like we planned for a few months of grinding, thinking it would be a few months, kind of similar to how we planned to move into my parents' house for 3 months. And then it turned into 9 months of living with my parents, which it was a great, like overall, like I'm so grateful we had that time with them. I'm so grateful Kai had that time with them. But it was hard when you're expecting something to be 3 months and then it turns into 9 months and you're still not in your own home and you have two dogs and a baby and like there's just a lot going on. So it was kind of the same situation here where we're expecting this grind business mode to be a few months at best, and then we can kind of not coast but like pull back a
Cruise a
little
little
because
more.
things were going on their own and built on their own. But it's been over a year now of this grind mode, and I think it just got to the point for me like I've been with the kids a lot and I do really great during the week. Like I'm really great with the kids and I'm really great at balancing getting my training in and all of that stuff. But I kind of mentioned in last week's podcast, I think like I would put so much stress on myself to get more work done, and I would constantly be trying to work while I'm doing other things and multitasking, and like it was just a big chaotic mess. And it got to the point where I would get to Fridays and I would be like on the verge of a mental breakdown because it was like everything just hits, and then the house is a disaster, and our shower hasn't been cleaned in 3.5 weeks, and like I just get to the point where I'm like it's all just there. So it was just this cycle of like we'd regroup over the weekend, we'd start fresh on Monday, Tuesday, and then it would just kind of just whoop, straight down by Friday. So yesterday I kind of like internally and like planned out some things like what do I need to do to make my weeks run smoother, as far as like routines, as far as what I'm prioritizing with fitness and strength and like all of that stuff, as far as homeschool stuff, as far as business stuff. So I planned out all of my posts for the week. Previously, I was kind of just posting on the fly, posting in between homeschool sessions, like getting stuff in when I could, and that just wasn't working anymore. So planning out my posts for the business page and for my page, planning out exactly when we're going to homeschool this week based on when we have childcare help for business and for work, planning out when I'm working out. Not that I wasn't doing that before. That's really the one thing that's been pretty consistent and constant in this season, which I am proud of. But just like making sure that doesn't get thrown off track. And then also like I wanted to start tracking my macros again, just because I have noticed like recovery and like things being a little bit off. And I know that typically is a sign I'm not eating enough food. So I was like, I need to track without adding more pressure to my plate. So that means planning out my meals the night before. So I logged all of my food for today last night. Feels great. I can go upstairs. I know exactly what I need to eat, when I need to eat it, and the rest of my day runs smoothly. So just for me, it was taking that step back instead of kind of coasting through the week. And yes, I have the flexibility to do all of these things on the fly, but that didn't feel great. So I needed to kind of restructure how I went about all of these things, because that's really how it works and how I get to the point where I can finish the week feeling in a good place because it was a little bit more organized versus flying by the seat of my pants and just it being a whirlwind tornado all week. And then I get to the end of the week and it's like, what just happened? So that's my side of things right now. I know I just word vomited all over you guys, but I think it's a great example of showing like even though we have been doing this stuff for years and years and years, there are seasons where we do kind of have to pull back and reorganize and restructure what our weeks look like.
And to kind of finish painting that picture, it's not like we ever expected business to not scale back. Like we always knew this, like the grind doesn't stop, but to the level, the extent that it's been, like if we do have a couple scheduled chunks where we don't have help and I come up for a couple hours so that she can do what she has to do. But outside of those blocks, I am not existent. Like I am buried in whatever it is that we're doing, building, working on, creating. And a lot of times I'll pop back up maybe right before dinner and then they don't even see me until after dinner. Like it has been, I've been a ghost show. But it is what it is. We're very proud of what we're building, and we knew there would be sacrifices. We did not anticipate the proper timeline on that. So all that to say, like nothing's ever going to be perfect for any of us. Like once things settle down, like things don't settle down. We say grind season, but there's always a grind. This is just a supernatural level. And I think a lot of our listeners can relate to that, whether they're shift workers or, working double time or stay at home mom or, single parent who is working the job and juggling the kids and doing all these things. Like, hard looks different for all of us, but we all deal with hard. Like, make no mistake about that.
Yeah.
But when it comes to your health, when it comes to your fitness levels, when it comes to the things you would like to prioritize, but you kind of kick to the back burner, there is never an ideal time to get those scheduled in and to fix those things. And, this is a super crazy season, but it'll be a little bit less crazy. Even when it's a little less crazy, like, you're going to come up to just breathe for a minute and you're not going to schedule those other things in. So it's about what is the bare minimum of what I need to do to keep these things going and to keep certain things a priority. And one of my things that I have been horrendous about being consistent with, like, my entire life is just like a mobility routine. I can't touch my toes, never have. And it's like my mobility, quote unquote, routine is still comical, but I do it every night. So we talk about the power of two. The smallest entry point. So a 2-minute walk, reading 2 pages before bed. Like, what is the bare minimum that you can always check the box and have a 100% success rate? Because more often than not, you're going to go above and beyond. But during crazy seasons, it just prevents you from letting it just completely fall to the wayside. So my 2 minutes of mobility is like throwing my feet up, reaching for my toes. And like, I always do that no matter what. Ideally, I'm doing something for 10 minutes. And when I do that, like, I sleep really, really well. Like, that is one of the best things in my wind down routine. But a lot of times it's go, go, go. And then we'll melt into the couch for maybe an hour if we're reading or watching Ted Lasso. That's been the show we just picked up. Whatever it is to decompress. If it is like I am shot, it's literally 2 minutes of stretching and I'm going right to bed. Like, I'll meditate, read the Bible for literally 2 pages, my 2-page rule. And then it's to bed. But it's setting the absolute minimum barrier to entry that says, I will not skip this. And this is one of the coolest parts of the Fitness League app when you guys get it. Remember, the insider launch is happening very soon. But setting out those trackables, those are the things I put in there. Once I get something down and it's second nature, I'm removing it typically, or I'm doing like one-off logs and it's not really something I'm super paying attention to unless I want the data in there for the machine learning. But I'm picking the things that I suck at, throwing them in there and making sure my adherence is 100% every single week for those things.
I think it's also super helpful for people to hear that in crazy seasons for us, like, things don't always go perfectly. And there are things in our own lives that fall by the wayside or get put on the back burner. But I would say something that doesn't change, and it might change how it looks. And we've talked about this before in terms of like flexibility being the key to consistency, right? But Alessandra, you mentioned like, hey, there's all these all these things going on. I feel like I never have enough hours in the day, but I never have let my training slip, at least in this season. Like, that is a non-negotiable for you. That there are other things that might get put on the back burner. There are other things that might be lower on the totem pole, but that will always stay high on the totem pole for you. And I think that is just like a helpful thing to point out, because I think for a lot of people, that the training or the exercise or the meal prep, like, that's the thing that gets put on the back burner for people when life is crazy. And then when that gets put on the back burner and now you don't have that hour for yourself, or you're not taking good care of yourself, or you're not nourishing your body, like, everything else starts to feel way worse on top of that already busy or stressful season. So if you are in that kind of season, I would really encourage you to figure out what your non-negotiables are. Maybe you pick 1 to 3 things that are just your non-negotiables. And they could be small. They could be, like Josh said, rule of 2s, like 2 pages in a book every night. And I'm going to make sure that I get in my 4 lifting sessions per week. And I'm going to make sure that I'm having protein with every meal. Like, those are my 3 non-negotiables in this crazy season. And if I could do more than that, great. And if I can't, at least I hit my non-negotiables. So I think that that's a helpful way to go about things. It's when all of the nutrition, training, fitness, self-care stuff starts to go out the window that we kind of like reach a point where we are really, really not thriving.
Yeah, I completely agree. And I think it's been very consistent, but there like I've still been lifting 4 times per week. I've still been running 4 times per week, but the last 3 weeks I haven't done my Saturday long run. And I think that obviously is not the thing that caused the mental breakdown. But when I don't get that time to myself on Saturday, I notice like it severely impacts my mood. So this week, I just said like our shower hasn't been cleaned in 3.5 weeks. So I'm literally bleaching our shower, scrubbing the shower, and just having a moment like bawling my eyes out to Josh.
Like
And he's like,
Cinderella scrubbing the
what
floors.
is wrong? Yes, because like it was in that moment I had to choose like, am I going to go for my run and then come back to a gross shower and take a shower after? That's going to make me feel worse. So I chose the shower, and then Josh was like, I will take the kids. I will watch the kids. This is not working for anybody. So you need to go do what you need to do to like prioritize your mental health. And for me, that is running. So I went for my run later in the day and all was okay. But there are a lot of times where it does feel like you have to choose like the house or my workouts, the laundry or my workouts. And most of the time, I'm choosing my workouts over that stuff. We are not in a season of life where our house is pristine all the time. We don't have a house cleaner. We don't have anybody coming to do that stuff. So it does rely all on us. Josh usually takes the outside and like the kitchen, and like he has his stuff. I have my stuff. But throughout the week, a lot of that stuff gets pushed to the back burner just with how life is right now. And that's okay. There will be a season where maybe we do have a house cleaner, and maybe we do have more time to prioritize those things more so on the regular. But even like I brought this up, I think on the podcast before too, we're probably the only house in the neighborhood that doesn't have Halloween decorations out, or like has a really nice front porch with mums and like everything's perfectly decorated. And at first I'm like, you get this feeling like I should be doing this. But one of the best pieces of advice that I got, actually, I was like newly pregnant with Kai. It was like 6 weeks. One of my mom's friends, she's a skincare like esthetician, and I was getting a facial because my skin was really bad during Kai's pregnancy. And she told me, she's like, this is the first thing I would tell you as you're about to become a parent is don't keep up with the Joneses. You cannot keep up with what anybody else is doing. It doesn't matter whose house looks like this. It doesn't matter what they're doing, what vacations they're going on. Focus on you and your life and your house and your kids and creating happiness there. It doesn't matter what anyone else is doing. And it's so true. Like you do get caught up with everything, what everyone else is doing. And I'm sure a lot of you guys see it nowadays on social media. It might not even be something in your real life. It might be something that you see online. That is not your life, and that's okay. You need to focus on what is doable and what makes you feel good and what adds value to your life right now in your life.
I want to take that one step further because I look for lessons and just different bits we can take from certain experiences. And during this challenging grind, one thing I've gotten maybe too good at to a fault is having difficult conversations and making quote unquote difficult decisions without, I don't want to say second guessing it, but without really thinking about, I don't know how I want to say this exactly without coming off super cold. I know it has to be done. I know what's in our best interest. And if it isn't specifically beneficial toward our family or our business right now, it's a hard no. It's a hard pass. I don't care if it's not benefiting. If there's something going in the wrong direction, I will have that conversation because we are so affected by everything that's happening. And we are working so hard to do some really, really cool things. And if anything stands in that way, I will remove it. I will just be a bulldozer and get it the hell out of our way. And I don't feel bad about it because I believe in our we talked about our purpose a couple episodes ago. I believe in our mission. I believe in our purpose. And if you are an obstacle to that purpose, you don't belong on this path. So we will remove you from that path. And to a fault, the reason I bring that up is we've missed out on certain things, and we're not as flexible with seeing people and doing the events and this and that and the other. But that's where we're at right now. What we're doing is that much more important, I believe. Like the huge things we'll find a way to show up for. Anything else is just not there. So yeah, it's been a season of learning how to navigate what we say yes to, how often we say no to just about everything, to be able to highlight this is a problem, we need to fix it or remove it. And I don't I like to think that I'm doing it in a compassionate way, but there is no second guessing. There's no hesitation. It's this is what needs to be done. We need to go do that.
And I don't want, like, you're kind of painting the picture that we're just kind of not social or not seeing anybody outside of our family, which is not true. I think we're actually in a season where we are more social than ever as far as like being with certain people and family members and friends who have.
So I'll push back on that though. We are more social, but with a smaller circle.
That's what I was saying. Let me finish my sentence.
You said, I don't know. All right, take it away.
We're compared to other years, like I think back to when Kai was Cora's age now, so 2. He didn't really have any, not that he didn't have any friends, like we have cousins and stuff, but like we weren't like, we're regularly hanging out with our neighbors and our friends, and we're with our families all the time. But like I think our kids are getting more social outings like that on a, like, not even big events, but just like regular, like meeting up with friends and playing on the playground type of thing that we'd never used to do before. And I think part of that is because it was like pandemic, right? Like newly post pandemic, where nobody was really doing anything to begin with. And that's a whole nother conversation. But I feel like being first time parents and business owners in that era, we were way more hermit crabbish than we are now, as very busy entrepreneurs. But it just looks different, I guess is what I'm trying to say. Like we still make the effort when it makes sense, because that still does benefit our family. So just like backing up everything you said right there, it's not that we're not doing anything. It's that we're being very, very intentional about what we are doing. And those moments and those quick play dates or going to church on Sunday or whatever it is, like that allows us to recenter and kind of gives us the energy and fills our cup in a different way so that we can do the rest of the stuff that we need to do throughout the week. Does that make sense?
That was a much better way to say it.
Yeah, you're
very
selective.
Yeah, we're very intentional with the decisions that we're making. And yeah, if it's not a plus, the take home, I guess, to wrap this full the way through, is you need to be intentional. Those of you listening who are like, I'm in the same position, it's different situation, but feel like I can't do anything. You just have to be intentional about the things that you're saying yes to, the things that you're doing, saying no to anything that's not adding value to your current priorities. And then you're not going to free up a half a day in most situations, but you're going to find pockets of time. I needed 20 minutes to do this. Well, now I have it because I'm not driving 15 minutes there and back, and then whatever this took for another 20 minutes. It's those little things where you're just stretching yourself way too thin. And in a digital world, like, it's easy to overcommit to a lot of things. Okay, I got to go pick this up, and then I got to see that person on the way back, and then we're going to go do this thing. If you don't want to do it and you don't have the capacity to right now, just be open, be honest. Like, listen, this is a season that's really tough for me. Can't wait to catch back up, but it's not going to be right now, or whatever that thing is. Just being incredibly intentional with that precious, precious amount of time that you do have. Hey guys, real quick. If you haven't heard yet, the Fitness League app is launching soon, but only to our current audience. That means if you're listening right now, you'll get exclusive early access. To lock in your spot, just click the link in the show notes and join the waitlist. No spam, just the important stuff. And in case you forgot what it is, this is the app built for busy humans who want real results without the burnout. It's not another fitness tracker, it's a movement where every rep earns rewards, every habit builds momentum, and every workout levels up your story. Train smarter, compete with purpose. The Fitness League is coming soon, where your journey becomes legacy.
I will also say it helps, and I know you guys are in the same position, and Brant and I are similar with this as well. We're like, we are always on the same page about whatever we're saying yes or no to. Mm-hmm. And I could imagine that there are maybe some people listening who are like, well, what if I want to say no to something, but like my spouse doesn't want to, or like there's a mismatch there in terms of like how social or how selective you want to be. And we're in, blessed situations where like we're all on the same page with our spouses, and like if something is generally a hell no, like it's a hell no for both of us. There's not one of us trying to like convince the other one that it's a yes. So what would you guys advise in a situation where maybe spouses are not on the same page about those intentions or that level of selectiveness?
I think it comes down to what buckets you need to fill. Like the reason it's so easy right now is we have so much going on with work and the kids that if it's not me and her going on a date or doing something, like I'm not going to go golfing with you. I'm not going to go do this. I'm not going out to lunch. If I'm not taking that time with my wife, it's an easy no, because that's the next cup that I need to fill, because it is running dry and building up some cobwebs right now. And we understand it. Our communication stays open and we're there to support each other throughout the week, like knowing this. So it's not like it's a total disconnect. But if I'm not with my kids, if I'm not with my wife, if we're invited on let's go do this trip for this weekend, or let's go away for the day. If I'm not bringing my kids or my wife, I'm not going. Like those are the two things that I need to be entirely focused on. So, I mean, for me, you obviously have your own conversations, but for my side of things, if those two things are to be true, then I am not doing it, and it's just an easy no.
Yeah, I think this is the season we're in too. Like, would it be nice to let him go? Not let him, but like if you wanted to go golf for
The
the
real
day.
story is Josh is chained up in the basement on weekends, and Alessandra doesn't let him out of the house.
Now you guys get it.
Now you guys know. No, but like, will we get to the point where we can each go do the things we want to do? Sure, maybe. We have a baby. I can't leave Wes for longer than like 2 hours since he relies on me to feed him. I can leave a bottle if it does come down to that. But like, yeah, I mean, we barely get time together doing the things that we like to do. So it's like once we fill that void, there really isn't any time left. And we understand, like Josh said, like we understand it's a season. This isn't how it's going to be forever. And you kind of just learn to accept that. I think that was also a hard pill for me to swallow when I found out that we were pregnant with Wes last summer, because it was like, it felt like we just got to the point where like Cora was good. Like I wasn't breastfeeding anymore. Like we're 9 months postpartum. Like we can leave them and like, it's not a big deal. And we could go drop them off with whoever and go do stuff. And then it kind of felt like, boom, you're pregnant again. You have to start all over again. And that was really hard for me to swallow at first, because like I said, this was not in our plans. It was God's plan, but it wasn't in our plans. And like you think about what you want your life to look like, or what you want the next year to look like, and you start to make all of these plans, and then it's like hard pivot back to what you just got through. So I think understanding the season of life that you're in is really important. But when it comes to your spouse, like you just have to communicate. Like don't wait until something comes up to have the conversation, because then that's often when it's going to be like, it's going to turn into an argument. Or if you're not on the same page, that's typically when you do see the argument. So like get on the same page before the holidays start coming around, before like things start coming up, so that in the back of your mind, oh, this probably isn't something we're going to commit to at this time. Or maybe you plan something for a future date together to kind of work around that situation. But I think it really comes down to like explaining to your spouse, like, hey, this is how I'm feeling. This is what's going on right now. This is what I believe to be best for our family. What are your thoughts? And like work through it that way. And I think if you're in an openly communicative and loving marriage, like typically you'll work through those things.
I thought you were going to say if you're in an open marriage. I thought it was for a second.
You know what I'm trying to say. But yeah, I feel like it starts with that communication, like before the thing comes up, that kind of like makes the communication happen it's like getting ahead of it before it comes to you, if that makes sense.
Yeah, we have become, I mean, it's been like this for a long time, but especially since having kids, our weekends are so sacred. Like we say no to so many things on a weekend, because on one hand, like it's our only time to do things. And on the other hand, it's our only time to do things. And so because Brant commutes in the city the vast majority of the week and is really like, we don't see much of Brant. We have like 10 minutes of Brant in the morning before work and about 20 minutes of Brant at night before the kids go to bed. So the girls get roughly 30 minutes of dad time Monday through Thursday. And then when the weekends come, and obviously, we're working during the week and the kids are in preschool and whatnot. But when it comes to weekends, like we have those 2 days that we can maximize our family time. Those are our only 2 days of the week where we all get to be together. And similar to what you said, Josh, like there's a lot of times that like Brant is saying no to the golf or saying no to something, or like in theory, I'd love to go like get a manicure or like go get a massage. But like, I don't want to leave my family for 2 hours or whatever. Like, we don't even lift on the weekends because we don't want to take that time away from our whole family. And I'm not saying that anyone needs to do that, but it's just like we say no to a lot if it means anything other than not being all together, because that is like our sacred weekend time. And if it's on a Sunday, it's almost always a no. You could barely get Brant out of the house to grocery shop on a Sunday. Like the Sunday is so sacred. And then it's all the stuff that like we're catching up on from the weekdays of, like you said, with the house stuff that you're kind of like not paying attention to during the week. And then the weekends you're playing catch up on laundry or cleaning or whatever else, like house projects that need to get done. So I don't anticipate that it will always be like that, but it's certainly like that now with heavy work seasons and little kids.
Yeah. And I think for a lot of people, time is always the biggest barrier, right? That's the biggest thing that we hear when it comes to fitness and focusing on their health. And I don't have time. And I promise you, you might not have it with your current state of priorities, but you can make it. You can make the time. And I think that is the key that a lot of people just kind of get caught up on, is like they feel like they may not have the time with their current schedule, with their current list of priorities, but it is possible to make it. And you really do have to make it. It's not just something that's going to poof appear an extra hour here, an extra hour there. Like, you have it. It is there. And it may feel really uncomfortable to, like, for instance, like look at your screen time on your phone. That's going to be a really uncomfortable thing for a lot of people, myself included. And granted, like, yes, a large part of that is our business, but I got sucked back into just getting sucked into scrolling since like I had Wes, just like with breastfeeding and like I tried really hard to not do that at first, but it's so easy to just, you're sitting there feeding them. It's like, what do I do with my hands?
Yeah.
So over the weekend, this is another thing I did yesterday, I cleared out my following list. If I don't know you personally or have had many conversations with you, I unfollowed you. It doesn't have anything to do with you. It has everything to do with me. So I'm down to like 100 and something people that I follow that are just people that I literally know. And I muted every single person on stories except for like you guys, just like a handful of people that I find myself either really enjoying or it's like my friends.
Smart.
And that has, even just one day of it so far, has vastly reduced the amount of times I'm opening up Instagram. Because like when I open up Instagram, my goal is to put out content. My goal is to put out stories, put out posts, put my energy out there for the world. I don't need to consume it. I really don't. That is time wasted that I do not have right now. So I muted everybody. I unfollowed a bunch of people. And that is literally just my goal this week, is to just get on there to post, maybe answer a few messages. I'll have time blocks set up for that and get off, because I guarantee you that'll save me, I don't even know how much time, but like, it's something you have to be aware of and be just super intentional about, because you're likely doing it without even realizing that you're doing it.
I did something similar over the weekend where Saturday I was like, I'm just not going on my phone today. And in the past, like on weekends, I'll typically not post, but I'll still end up scrolling. And I'm like, I don't feel good when I do this. First of all, like the kids might go down for a nap and I end up scrolling and I blink and like it's been an hour and a half. And I'm like, what a freaking waste that was. And I actually feel so drained coming out of it. Like I get lost in that scroll hole and I come out of it. I'm like, why do I feel like I need to take Advil? Like I feel so like tired and like fatigued after I just like consumed all of this. And I'm like, Brant will be like, get off your phone. I'm like, I work on my phone. He'll be like, you're not working right now. Like you're not posting, you're not creating content. But I'm like, I'm taking in content. So I have like ideas and stuff, like trying to convince myself. And he's like, no. And so this has been a conversation between us in the past. And this Saturday, I was like, I am not even going to open the app. Like I don't want to scroll. I don't want to do anything. And I found that my Saturday was so much longer in a good way. Like I wasn't brushing my teeth and scrolling, or like filling my water bottle and scrolling. Like I was finding I was starting to like just open it all the time, where again, like filling my water bottle at the damn fridge and I'm scrolling until my water bottle overflows because I get stuck in, like, it's so damn quick. And then I found myself getting so angry at like my phone and myself. And so Saturday I was like, I'm not scrolling. I'm not going on at all. I'm not waking up and doing it, not scrolling at all. And there were maybe 3 times that I instinctively, like, I went to answer a text message and then like opened the app and immediately went, nope, wait, you're not scrolling, and closed it immediately. But I couldn't, like, there's so many times that I just like grabbed my phone instinctively and I'm like, nope, nope. And like quite literally opened it and wasn't cued until I saw the app open. Then I was like, oh, close it. You're not on social today. And then I felt like I gained so much time back on Saturday. And I sat and I read for like 2 hours while the girls were napping. I read a book. I was like, Josh and Alessandra are going to.
You read a whole chapter of Good to Great in that hour?
I was actually reading Jewish literacy, but I did read 2 hours, and a lot of the stories were like just like what I was reading in the beginning of this book is like all biblical stories, like Cain and Abel and Adam and Eve, and I was just like, oh, it was like interesting to. Anyway, I read moral of the story, and then I will tell you, yesterday, Sunday, when I was quote allowed to be back on my phone, but by myself, like this was not like not like locking up Josh in the basement. I was allowed to go on my phone. But when I was allowing myself to, I just found I didn't want to. Like I was so surprised at that one day of being off of it, how yesterday I went to open my phone to scroll. First of all, I didn't wake up and scroll. I was like, I'm going to try and be better about that at least. Like, let me get up and like moving for the day before I open my phone. And then when I did, I literally scrolled 2 posts and I was like, don't care. And I closed my phone. And I was like, wow, when you're not, when you remove yourself, literally one day I removed myself from. And by the next time I opened it, that next day, I was like, why do I care? I don't care about this. This is someone else's life. Like, why do I care?
It is amazing how quickly, like, if you can get off of your phone, you appreciate the things around you.
Yeah.
Don't open your phone as soon as you wake up. Like, that's been number one mood changer is like, I'll actually go through, brushing my teeth, washing my face, journal. I do my shake before I lift, so I get that done, read the Bible before I even look at my phone, before it even gets touched for work specifically. But the phone isn't getting touched until that point. But today, we went for a walk in the rain. It was really warm, which felt kind of nice with the rain. So I worked out, kids got up, Alessandra brought them out, went for our walk. And just like the natural sensory triggers, the rain on our hoods, like the splashing, walking, there were some deep puddles, walking through that, hearing that sound, smelling the leaves, like it was very therapeutic today. And I realized the more and more we get sucked in digitally, the more I crave that. And people wonder, well, like, why do I want to start this compound? Like, I just want to I want to do all these things for our business and change the world, but I want to make so much money that no one around us has to work and we can go live on this compound and live off the land and do these things. And that's like community, not just family, our friends, our community. Like I want to bring in as many people into that as possible. This self-sustained city, we move forward by moving backwards. Like I'm a huge believer in that and rebuilding community, but I have such a pull to that and just not bringing your phone, looking around, seeing nature, hearing nature, smelling nature. Like people joke around, go put your feet in some grass if you're stressed out. We don't do that. If we're not actively trying to go get that 10 minutes during a stressful period of the day, we just build this negative reactiveness
and
consistently.
Even as a creator and as somebody who very much enjoys making content and putting out content, I get so many... Like, Joelle, I've told, like what you said before about like, oh, but like this is part of work. I need to scroll and get ideas. I've told myself that before too. And it is such a back ass word. Sorry for swearing. I don't do it often. Way of thinking because like, I truly don't care what anybody else is doing business wise. I'm sorry. Like, I know there's a whole networking side of things and like, connecting with colleagues and whatnot. I don't care. All I care about is not all I care about, but our business and what we're doing with TFL and the new app and what we're putting out for our people is what I care about the most. And I get the best ideas when I'm not scrolling anyone else's content. I have a whole list in my phone, just from last night that I jotted down just from the day while Josh had Ted Lasso on. I literally created probably 15 posts that are really, really good posts. The best work I've done in months probably, because I didn't
Yeah, the
scroll very
headspace.
much all weekend. And it makes what I do so much more rewarding and
Yeah.
enjoyable when I'm not taking in as much. So, and I understand like most of you guys listening to this are consumers, not creators. So I just want to urge you, do not get sucked into that void as a consumer. And I'm not saying you have to go be a creator, but like be intentional also, since this seems to be the theme of the episode. Be very intentional about what you're taking in on social media and who you're following and what you view every day. Because even if you're just like mindlessly scrolling and not paying much attention to it, you're still taking it in. And it does impact you, your thoughts, your emotions, just everything. So take this advice, go do a clean out, go mute whoever you need to mute. Don't care about what anyone thinks if you're unfollowing them. Like, it has nothing to do with them. It's everything to do with you and creating a world socially that feels good when you do want to enjoy it. But you'll find that you want to be on it less when you have it set up that way almost.
So we need to shift gears here, but I want to defend myself for a second. Ted Lasso is teaching me the inspirational, motivational speaking.
I love Ted Lasso. You don't have to defend Ted
I'm
Lasso.
not
It's so
saying
funny.
that it was a bad idea.
Ted Lasso, anyone who has watched Ted Lasso is so happy to hear that you are watching Ted Lasso. As a Ted Lasso fan, I speak for all of us.
You speak for the people. Yeah, I got you.
I do want to come back to one thing before you make us go a different topic, probably, or regroup us. I wanted to come back to something you said about being in nature. Brant is reading the book Comfort Crisis. If neither of you read it, I think you would really like it.
Oh, we read it. That's a good one.
Oh, okay. Well, Brant is reading it. He loves it. And every now and then he'll be like, I need you to go read this chapter. It's like always something about being on your phone and social media somehow. But so I've like read a few random chapters of this. But yesterday, did we take you guys to the park where there's a lake? Did we walk around a park where there was a
did
lake?
that the second to last trip.
Yeah, we did
Okay,
that.
that's what I thought. I said to Brant, didn't we take the Skutniks here? And he was like, no.
I don't think Brant was there.
He wasn't there.
It was just you.
Oh, that would explain why Brant doesn't remember it. So I was like, Brant has the best memory. There's no way I'm remembering something that Brant is not remembering. That's so funny. Okay, we went. I'm like, I vividly remember like giving Sloan a piggyback, and I remember it triggering a headache for me. I remember this. Anyway, we went there yesterday. It was beautiful out. And we were like, let's go just like walk around. Let's go to the lake. Like the girls get a kick out of like seeing the swans and the geese and the ducks in the lake. And like there's a little playground there the kids could play on, just kind of change the scenery, get us out of the house. So we went there, and first we like walked over to the lake. We sat on a little park bench, and the four of us are just sitting on a little bench, and like it's so pretty in the fall because all the leaves are changing there, and there's the lake, and the girls are getting such a kick out of the swans and the geese. And Sloane's like, is the swan the mom of the geese? I'm like, no, those are different birds. And we're just having like a lovely little time, the four of us. No one has their phones out. We're all just sitting on a bench. It's a little breezy, but it's sunny. I have some snacks with me. The girls are sitting down eating their snacks. And Brant was like, we could do this every weekend and I'd be so happy. I'm like, yeah. And he's like, I know winter is coming, but like, I really want us to try to just be in nature more and outside more, even in the winter. And I'm like, love it. Yes, I'm down. I got sidetracked here. Comfort crisis. This is why Josh has to regroup us. Comfort crisis. Brant was telling me this. He was telling me this at the park, which is why, anyway. He read a chapter in Comfort Crisis that was about how there are studies that people's health improves when they're out in nature, and their blood pressure and their cholesterol levels and their heart rates come down, and like all these things happen when you spend more time in nature. And that the research also shows that if you spend that time outside on your phone, all of those health benefits disappear. And I was like, that's wild. Like, I'm not entirely surprised, but also that's wild. Like you remove the physiological benefit. What?
You're not getting the benefits if you're sticking your face right back in the screen.
Right. You remove all the physiological benefits when you're on your phone. So like keep that in mind as you go for a walk or as you go for a hike or whatever. If you're walking around your neighborhood and you are just scrolling that entire walk, like great, you got your steps in, but you actually didn't get any of the other benefits, mental benefits, physiological benefits for your health, you just kind of canceled each other out, which I thought was really, really interesting.
Yeah. I was going to say, I think a big part of why I got into photography in the first place was to get off. Like, I would always use my phone at first, and then my grandparents bought me my first camera. It was a GoPro, actually, right before I moved to San Diego, and that was like my first camera. And just having that separate, and I know, like, if your argument is, well, I like to take videos and pictures of my family and my kids, like, get a separate camera, and not only will the quality be better, but it's like a new little hobby and like something that's just for you that feels completely different than having it on your phone. So that I wanted to point out. And then the other side of this, before Josh makes us totally pivot again, I just want to throw in there.
Josh just keeps raising his hand on Riverside. Like,
Sorry.
everybody shut up.
It's time to pivot. We're gonna hard stop right there.
All right.
So
fine.
they can take this in as many different directions that they want. They get the idea.
just go
Yeah.
F myself.
We're gonna go ahead and take a little
To
side
stop
step
her
here.
mid-sentence like that? That was savage.
She got the first point in, and then it was another
She had
tangent.
a
We
second
gotta.
point. She has important things to say.
It's fine. Nobody needs it.
Everybody got it. Is all I'm getting at. They all got it. All right.
I
So
tried. Tried to defend. you
bringing
all,
this
Conrad.
full circle. So there are obviously 1,000 things you can do health and fitness wise. Prioritize this. There are a trillion routines, literally. That's why we kind of compartmentalize into the L5 method. So training, nutrition, mindset, movement, and habits. That still sounds like a lot. That's 5 things. But remember, we're going to pull the power of 2 back into this. So the amount of time and energy resources we're going to put into each are going to vary. They're going to ebb and flow based on your phase. Listen, if you're tired of the all or nothing cycles, the diet starts Monday, the I know what to do, I'm just not doing it feeling, we should probably talk. Our one-on-one online coaching isn't just about workouts and meal plans. It's about building something that actually fits your life. No cookie cutter templates, no guilt, just real coaching and real results. Plus, we've got a pretty big team, so we can even pair you with an expert who actually understands your lifestyle because they've gone through it too. If that sounds like what you've been missing, check out the link in the show notes to apply for coaching. Then we'll send you the link to book a free, no obligation consult call with our team. There are no hard closes. We won't even take your credit card over the phone. You'll get the details to sign up on your own time. And more good news, we are in fact qualified for HSA FSA reimbursement. One last thing. We even offer a 30-day money-back guarantee, so you have nothing to lose. What are you waiting for? Spots are limited, so apply today. All right, let's get back to the show. So nutrition, the entire thing might just be focusing on protein and plants or prioritizing whole foods. Movement could be, a 5-minute walk, 2-minute walk, whatever you got time for. How do you guys decide? Maybe let's start with what you're doing right now, and we'll just dive into training, for example. So training typically tends to be the most time constricting pillar that we put into play when it comes to these. How are you prioritizing performance versus aesthetics, fun versus I need to do this thing, a health issue versus X, Y, or Z? Like, what goes into play, and how did you guys land on where you are right now? Alessandra talked about her pivot going on right now just based on the crazy season. Joelle, you recently got into the running again as the weather cools down. What goes into the final factor of, all right, it's time for the switch. Here's what I'm going to focus on for the next how long?
Yeah, so man plans, God laughs is one of my favorite sayings. Thank you, Mom. Right as I'm getting back into my running debut, I got a few runs in. I think I got maybe 3 or 4 runs in. And then I got hit with whatever this sickness has been. And now I've been out of the gym for the last 5-6 days, almost a week. So for me, probably tomorrow, I'm going to start trying to re-engage with my lifting routine again. And, I think it's an important caveat that sometimes you can have the best of intentions or like, oh, hey, this is how I'm going to pivot in this season, or like, this is what I'm going to do next. And it doesn't always go as planned, for reasons out of your control, i.e. getting sick or toddlers getting sick or whatever else. So for me, I am going to jump back in to what my typical routine is with lifting and cardio. But I will start that off with lower volume and lower intensity. So like I've been off for about a week of cardio and lifting while I was navigating some virus. And so I will return to my usual frequency that I like to kind of do as soon as possible, like get back to the frequency of what I was doing, but I'll ease back in by way of intensity and duration. So I probably won't do all of my sets. I might do 50 to 70% of my sets and reps, or 50 to 70% of the weight that I was previously using, 50 to 70% of the distance or the time that I'm spending in cardio. So my first go-to is always getting back to the frequency that I like personally, and then modifying intensity if I need to until I can scale fully back up. But there have been other seasons of life where I've dropped down to 3 lifting days. And maybe that meant I was toggling, more or less cardio based on doing 3 lifting days. There's been other seasons where I'm lifting 5 days a week. Right now I'm in a season where I'm lifting 4 days a week. And like that seems to work really well for my performance and recovery needs in this season. I would say because it's been a chaotic season of a many years long season of chaos, my recovery capacity hasn't been the greatest. And so even when I was adding running back in, I was constantly like reevaluating like my soreness, my hunger, my recovery, my sleep, because I want to make sure that if I am adding something in, it is beneficial to me and it is not doing more harm than good. So a lot of what I am adding or subtracting are how something might be affecting my recovery or my sleep or my performance. So if performance was suffering with adding something in, then I would shift that. Or if recovery's changing or shifting negatively, then I'm going to shift something else, toggle something else to make that work better for me.
Yeah, I love that. Similar over here. I think for me, I always have like a baseline, like as somebody who I've been running most of the last three years now. Obviously stopping for the second half of both pregnancies pretty much just because it didn't feel great. But other than that, like consistent running, consistent cardio when I did stop the running. But like I always have like a threshold minimum of lift days and what I'd like to do for cardio or run days now. So I'll never go under 3 lift days, no matter how busy the season. And I'll typically always try to get in at least 2 cardio sessions. Like when I was super pregnant, I still got 2 cardio sessions in. Now that I'm like more inching towards peak fitness, I'm doing 4 runs per week. So it kind of just depends on the season of life as far as what my body has gone through over the last few years. But outside of pregnancy, I kind of just assess like, what is my biggest goal right now? What do I really want to achieve? Is that training for a half marathon? Is that getting really strong in the gym again? So I kind of like set that goal, and it might not even be like an actual half marathon. Like for instance, this past running block was just to get my mileage back up to about 25 miles per week. So it was like shooting for one bigger overarching goal and then having the supplemental things under that, which strength is still important. So that was still making sure I was hitting my strength goals. And then like this week, for example, just dialing nutrition back in. And I'm glad you touched on biofeedback, Joelle, because that's something that we obviously place a big focus on with our clients, is like not just your training and nutrition, but what is your biofeedback looking like? Like, how are our energy levels? What does digestion look like? What's your sleep doing? What's your cycle doing if you're cycling right now? So like you have to assess all of the things to determine like, is this a sweet spot for my training right now? And if you're not really thriving, and it doesn't mean you have to be perfect in all of those areas, but if you're not inching your way forward, you have to figure out what needs to change. And that's really when I decide to pivot, similar to you, Joelle. So it's like you experiment to I guess it's kind of experimentation, but also then like taking the time to like let your body adapt and then pivoting. Like a lot of people will hear this and think like, oh, if my biofeedback is off this week, I'm going to do this for 1 week and then switch it. Like, don't switch it too soon. You still want to give yourself time to actually adapt and like figure out if it's working or not, but be open to adjusting things at the same time. It's a fine line, and I know that might confuse you even more, but you have to give it enough time to let your body adapt before you decide that it is or it isn't working.
Yep.
What line do you guys skate as far as this would be fun to do. Maybe it's not even training, anything protocol related, but this is something I've always wanted to do. I'd like to get into this. This seems fun versus I should probably do this. I need to do this. So a little context, like for me, I know I need to do cardio because my blood pressure has always been borderline. Since I've been consistent with running, it's looked significantly better. I don't know if you guys have a specific metric like that you're like, I have to get this better, or if it's, I want to work on aesthetic here, strength here, if we're talking the training route. But fun versus like, I should probably do this. How do you guys balance that?
I've struggled with that in the past, Josh. Like even something that I would love to implement now, like I joke about wanting to start Brazilian jiu-jitsu, and like I would love to, in theory. Another like random hobby that I really love doing is rock climbing, and I'd like love to join a rock climbing gym. But with only so many hours in the day, I know that would mean I would have to trade off either like some of my cardio or some of my lifting, and I'm not willing to do it. So maybe in another season of life when things look a little bit different time-wise or schedule-wise, for me, the cardio and the lifting are just non-negotiable in this season, not from an aesthetic standpoint, just strictly from a health standpoint. And I don't feel like there's something that I could add that would equally replace the stimulus that I would be getting from those two things.
For what it's worth, you will never find better cardio than jiu-jitsu.
Good to know. Good to know. Like if I were to join a soccer league and I was doing that, like that, I might be like, okay, I probably don't need to go on a run. Like I'm doing a ton of running with soccer, let's say, which I have no interest in. But I have kind of gone through that tally in my head in previous times, Josh, of like, this is something that I would like to do because I think I would really enjoy it. But timing wise, I don't feel like I could add another thing to my plate without subtracting something else. And I'm not willing to subtract anything that I'm currently doing. And that just is what it is. It's like, okay, so maybe in another season.
Yeah, I'm the same exact way. Like those really are non-negotiables and should be non-negotiables for everybody. It doesn't have to be running, but cardio and strength, like that's keeping you healthy and keeping you able to do any other additional things you would like to do in the longer term. So when we remove those, you may not be able to do the thing that you would like to do as long as you want to do it for. So same for me. Will there be a season of life where we have more time? I'm sure there will be. Right now, this comes first. And I think at the same time, like to the same token, I do really enjoy and love both strength training and running. And I think that is part of my answer here too. It's like, those are two sports that they hype me up. I love doing them. It's sometimes I don't want to wake up at 5 a.m. and get out and lift or go for a run in the pitch black. But like for the most part, I'm enjoying the process. And I think that's key too. Like wherever you're starting right now, maybe you are starting from a place where it does have to be, I have to do this for my health. Like my health depends on doing this thing. If I don't change doing this thing right now, my health is going to continue to decline. Some of you might be there, and that's okay. And if you are there, it might not be super enjoyable from the get-go, or it might not be something that you necessarily want to do, but it can develop into that. And I think that's something you have to keep in mind as well. Like it might not start there, but you may get to a point where you do fall in love with strength training, or maybe you do more of a powerlifting style training and you love how that makes you feel, or maybe you do, I don't know, more like circuit based type classes or whatever it is. Like you have to be open, even if you don't love it right now, understand that there is space for you to eventually enjoy it down the road.
I'm glad that you touched on the enjoyment piece too. I think two things. One, yes, there might be room for you to enjoy it later, but also like if you don't want to do standard running or biking cardio, like, and there is something else that you think you'd really enjoy, like a spin class or an F45 class or an Orange Theory class or a kickboxing class, like you reserve the right 100% to go do that and try it. And if you love that, like if we're going apples to apples of like, a class versus this or kickboxing versus that, at the end of the day, if it gets you moving, it is going to benefit your health. And so to us, the cardio and the strength training, like it's a non-negotiable, but that's because we really, really like those things and we're not willing to give them up. For someone who's like, I actually hate cardio, I hate running, I hate biking, but I did see a Groupon deal on a kickboxing class and I'm kind of intrigued, go do that. Like, go do that. I'd rather you go take the kickboxing class than skip your cardio altogether, or like skip that as an exercise day altogether. You absolutely can and should go try other methods and modes of exercise if you don't like the more traditional routes. Because at the end of the day, movement is movement, stimulus is a stimulus. And like, I just want to see people get moving. As a health coach, as an exercise physiologist, I want to just see you move, whatever that mode of exercise is.
So it definitely sounds like there's room for both. And to your points, strength training, cardio, whether we're enjoying it right now or not, they should be prioritized. If it's a hard stop and we're not doing it at all, find the intermediary. And in a lot of cases, like jujitsu or soccer or kickboxing, like it's not even a lesser swap. Like those are optimal cardio options. You are at, if you have a place that does open mat or an open roll at the end of your jujitsu session, like that is straight. That's not even hit because it never comes down from the high intensity. It is straight vomit level cardio. So get it in, find a way to enjoy it if you can build it into your schedule. As long as we're checking off the basics is kind of the underlying theme here. Do something for everything. You have 100 points to work with throughout those 5 pillars. Some pillars might be 40, some pillars might be 5, but keep something involved at all times. And you're never going to stray too far as long as you're aware of all of them and nothing totally hits the back burner. Anything
you dropping hints there with that? You dropping hints there with that 100 points?
With the points that are allocated on a daily basis? Yeah.
I don't know. It sounds kind of familiar.
Little challenge hint, TFL challenges. We should have these out in the next couple days for us to beta test Fitness League app aspiring members who are listening. We should have this in the next couple days. We'll get our beta testers on it, and our goal from there is to refine and build in your access point, your entry point here. So it's not going to be, you'll see. There's exclusive access. There's some cool things that are going to happen. There's going to be a secret way to get in that we will be sharing with you guys only. So stay tuned for that. Maybe it'll be next Tuesday's podcast. Maybe we'll have something for you then. But in regards to this episode, anything else you guys want to leave them with?
I don't think so.
All right. Well, we're going to wrap up this conversation with the reminder that change doesn't come in one big moment. It's built in the ways you keep showing up. Take what you learned today and build the best version of yourself for tomorrow. Where can they find you?
I'm at Alessandra Skutnik.
At Joelle Samantha.
At Josh Skutnik.
And everything else you need is linked in the show notes.